want, right? Shoot, you want to make more revenue? Just put it at $99 a night. Let's add that up. That's $3,000. So if I get 10% of that, I at least made $300, right? And the owner, guess what? Might be losing money. Can't cover the mortgage and utilities and taxes because that's not enough on a nightly rate to cover a $5,000 a month mortgage payment. You see how that plays out? So the reason this became so important, this is where I'm going. So this is a little add-on for today, but important for you guys. As we shift, and it's in, I'm going to go pull it up really quick. I mentioned, I was going to see, I think it's been posted already. If not, I'm going to check where that is with the team. I have them developing a bunch of stuff out, so I'm not going to yell at them if it's not up yet, but it might be. Hang on one second. I'm going to pull it up. There was this like selling spectrum. I'm not sharing my screen yet, so if you're wondering what you're not seeing, I'm going to the call replay section. I'm going to see if it's there. I don't know. It's part of the reaching your 2023 goals. It might be that one. Let me skip ahead. No, that's not it. Maybe that's not it. No, you know what? I don't think I'm going to go in and I don't think that's it. Yeah, that's the wrong one that's posted. So we'll get it posted. I'm going to go figure out where it is and let the team know. But a few weeks ago, I talked about this spectrum. And in our normal models, we do a preferred earning. If we feel really good about a property, sometimes we'll actually do a different structure and take over payments if somebody's distressed. But when somebody's not distressed, we'll actually partner with them. They get a preferred earning, which is the initial revenue out of that comes in the door, goes to them. Then we cover utilities, we cover the cost of furniture and everything else. We take on all those extra expenses. So we could scale and add more properties to the portfolio. We're going to expand our base of properties and say, look, we're not going to guarantee the utilities. We're not going to put the utilities in our name like we do in other properties, and we're not going to bring in the capital. But we'll come in and manage it on a profit basis, return on profits only. And this is a great win for people that are already doing an Evolve or Vacasa. All right, let's think about this. This is why we're doing this. And so this contract that we're going to modify for Michael and Doug to go work with this gentleman in Fort Lauderdale is a great contract because it's basically, if we want to play in the space where we could take it's steal business from Vacasa and Evolve, this is actually better than what those guys are doing over there because they're doing off of gross, not profits. And the reason this works well with them, but I believe with that avatar, is they're already in a model where they're covering utilities, they're covering the furniture, right? The Evolve and Vacasa, they're just managing it. So we don't have to change their mindset. Remember, when you guys are following the formula that I give you, and even in your first set of assignments, where we call up a vacant property owner, the mindset of a vacant property owner who's trying to sell their property today is not, hey, I'm going to hold this property, be committed to a mortgage payment, and then have to furnish this thing and have to cover utilities. Like, no, they were thinking, I want to sell this thing. So getting them to, even the first step in working with them is getting them to understand that, hey, look, you're going to hold this property. You're not gonna sell it. We're going to turn it into higher income. But here's what it means. So the ability to get somebody who was not thinking, I want to be in the short-term rental space, to get them the idea that they've got to take on utility expenses and risk of vacant mortgage payments and capital for furniture, that their mind is not there. It's a different avatar. Does that make sense, everyone? Are you guys getting that? Somebody who's already in the short-term rental, running it themselves or hiring of a Vacasa or whomever else, is under the mindset of, I've got a property just like any rental property. I'm responsible for the whole thing. I need somebody to help me make it work. But they've already entered that short-term rental space. And so this is going to be a formula and a format that we can do. I believe if we really wanted to pick up a bunch of short-term rental properties, you'll be able to take this model and just start siphoning away the properties from the competition. Now, you say, but isn't there risk, Keith? Is it possible that we'll pick up a property and we'll lose money on management? On management, yes. But the reason that we decided to go this route, and it's kind of, here's how I look at it. It's all about economies of scale, guys. Yes, we might pick up a property where we have to work for free managing guests and dealing with all these different challenges, right? But then we get another property around the corner that we crushed it and we did so good. So it offset the losses of time. If you only have one property, and I'm going to pick somebody as their screen. Hey, Luis, welcome. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the team. Thanks for having your camera on. I love when people have their cameras on. I know they're actually there. I get to meet them. And especially for the first times, they can put a face to the name. But
Thank you.
Anyway, let's say you were doing one property and that's all you had, and that property was losing money every month. I mean, it wasn't performing, and you're like, wow, I just put in how many hours this month and I didn't get paid a dime, right? Eventually you're gonna like, this is stupid. I gotta stop doing this, right? This doesn't make sense. But when you have one that's not performing, but then the other one turns out has no issues, you're putting no time into that one, it just made you $1,000. You're like, okay. That one was the freebie that covered my expense on the one that, because we don't always know which properties are going to be the biggest properties. Doug Svensson, by the way, call came in this morning on the Northwood property, and there was a massive sewage backup, right? Like literally, sewage was coming out the basement shower. And so, they had the local team was amazing. Scott and Brittany are awesome there, by the way. They were out there right away with their teams, and they're working through it and got the plumbers out there in a matter of hours. But, you don't know which property is that going to happen to. We had that happen on New Year's Eve at a property. One of Josephine's had that here in, actually it's Danny's. You guys know Danny too, part of the network and the team. But his property in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve had the same thing, sewage coming out in the house and spilling over. We had to get plumbers out and carpet cleaners on New Year's Eve on a Saturday, right? Like, who wants to come out on a weekend, on a holiday, right? So you just don't know though what's going to be the winner. So my point in sharing that is it comes down to scale, right? When you have scale, that's how it all offsets. It's like, I've ordered some things, like the stupidest things. I've ordered like a phone case, and the Amazon's already apparently coming into my neighborhood, so I could get my phone case today. Because I'm thinking, it is not efficient for somebody to drive from the warehouse to drop off a phone case at my house that I paid like $6 for, right? Like, it doesn't actually make economic sense. But when they're already in the area and they're dropping off and doing 50 other deliveries, it's only an extra 2 minutes or 1 minute around the way. And so it's all about economies of scale, and you have to recognize that. So when you have economies and a scale and a model that works, that's why they have Amazon Prime. Anyone else have Amazon Prime, by the way? Michael does, Luis. I see lots of people. Amazon Prime. Think about it. We get all of our deliveries for free. Like, they lose money on me. You guys have no idea. I mean, I order probably, so I have to look at the numbers, but between $250,000 to $500,000 a year from Amazon. They lose money on my Prime. Well, they don't lose money on me. They lose money on the delivery for me. Right? They make it up in the volume of purchasing, but they lose money, but they don't care because they make their money up on Prime for the person that signs up, and they have one package delivered this year, right? They paid $99 to have a delivery package. Shoot, like, talk about expensive delivery. And they make money on their software and their other services. And with Prime, they stream videos, and you got all those other things. So you just figure out where those are. So anyway, that was not part of.
Can I just say something, Keith?
Yeah, please.
So we manage a property, it's called the Jurassic Retreat, with life-size dinosaurs. So when you were going back to, I think Mike was saying about the themed Airbnbs, well, that's what it is. It's amazing. I sold it for $578 a year ago, and I just sold it for $1,050,000 as a themed Airbnb. So these guys are actually sick of the Evolve and Airbnb themselves. So they're actually going to manage it themselves. They're an investment group from over in Arizona. So my husband and I, we don't own it. I've facilitated the sale because obviously that's what I do. But what one of the reasons why I joined your group, Keith, was because I work, but I want to create that passive income. We're at that age. My husband's an military Navy special warfare guy, majorly suffers from PTSD. And so I am the sole worker. And so I need to I work very hard. But I love all this. I've been doing this for years, but I have to get back there after the market crash. I lost my ass like many of us. And so this is fantastic for me to be involved. I'm very excited. And I thank you for your time. I'm going to shut up now.
No, I love it. And by the way, where are you from? Where's your accent from?
I'm from Cheshire, north of England, but I've been here. I met my husband in the Middle East 25 years ago.
Okay.
So I was a
Okay.
broker in San Diego for 17 years, and then we moved to, we're out of Washington State right now. We live there, out in a little place called Washougal.
Okay, well, cool. Well, welcome to the program. And you hit it on the head, Luis. Here's the deal. You have to build those passive streams, and that is so important. And so that's where, you know, part of what we're doing is, and by the way, you don't want to manage it full time either. I mean, you got to get to economies of scale, and you don't want to run economies of scale. You want to have teams that can run that, and that's what we've put together. So you can just plug in, make the connections, and you're going to have some properties might do amazing and some might not do that well, but on average, you'll be building that passive stream, and eventually you might add buy your own, throw them into the mix, and have your own properties that you don't even have to manage. They just get managed for you, and that's how you create those passive streams. So, and then you still do flips. We're going to look at a flip if we have enough time here still today. We've got 4 flips running in Chicago, and one's supposed to close out hopefully this week. Well, it's targeted for this week, but hopefully within the next week. All we're waiting on really is our big challenge is the city getting the inspectors out, because they have to sign off on every house that sells. And well, when there's a plumbing permit, I found that, like, I heard this, we have to get the plumbing permit for the sign off for the inspection, but the guy that issues the permit's only in once a week. So it's like you build in these artificial processes that delay things, and then you can't even support them. Like it's like the craziest thing, but that's some of our governments. Anyway, so you were always looking to do those fix and flips to create more cash infusions, but those cash infusions, then you turn to either go buy another short-term rental or a beyond living home or something that's going to be that long-term stream of passive income. So, anyway, so that was it. So with that said, what Michael and Doug are tapping into, which is awesome, is what I shared about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I said we want to start getting more into. It's the right hand of the spectrum. You guys haven't seen it yet. We'll get it loaded. It's actually in one of the past replays, but most of you are never going to have time to go to watch through the last 2-3 weeks of replays to find it. So underneath the highlights reel, we're going to add that in there, which is the spectrum, the investment spectrum, so that you guys know what we're talking about, and that you can see, like, okay, here's how we differ from most investors. Here's how we play in, and how we're going to expand more towards the right side of that spectrum, which is even less risk for us financially, but it's also then more risk that we might work for free, right? But that's okay. Be confident in what you do. We're not just going to say yes to every property. Just to be clear, our goal is not to absorb every property that's in the marketplace. Our goal is still to be very, very diligent in the numbers and know that the data clearly suggests, given our experience, given where the past has been and where we see the trend going in that marketplace, that this can be a successful short-term rental. And when you build that, lots of people have more than one short-term rental or investment property, or they'll add more. And then you've built more business, right? You've added more into your portfolio, and we can do that with a lot less risk, because you basically have lined up your investor, right? So, Luis, you might be able to buy 1 or 2 or 5. I don't know your position, or 0, doesn't matter. But imagine if you had an investor willing to buy 5 more. Why not? And you're a licensed agent too, aren't you? Yeah. So that's even better. If they happen to buy in the area, you get a referral fee. You're actually earning on the purchase too, right? You get a buy side commission, then ongoing residual from that property, which is so much different than where most real estate agents in America are in. Most real estate agents are in the, quick turn, and then you're in and out of business, right? And you got to find your next client, find the next home. So anyway, with that said, let me see what I saw come in here. Because I get their properties for you, but if you could please show me how to get to the accelerator page. Thank you. So the way you should have a separate email that came for access to the accelerator portal. If you cannot find that email, reach out to support@nextgenrei.net, and it kicks off right away. In fact, I could check the system and see if you have it on there. But you should have definitely gotten that particular email. And why that's so important is because They're two separate ones because the 30X portal is separate from our software. Some people just buy our software to enter properties in, and we just pay them a referral fee. They're not interested in long-term residuals or any. They don't want to make the small investment to be part of the program. That's fine. They trade off a lot of long-term revenue. That's their decision. So anyway, that's why you'll see two separate things. But I actually, yeah. Yeah, anyway, so we'll just leave it at that. So if you have questions on that, please just reach out to support@nextgenrei.net. Because for you individually, it's just an email. So there's an email there, and you click on that link, and it'll take you to that accelerator page. And then hopefully everything is self-explanatory from there. There is training videos. In fact, what I'll do, because we've got a handful of new folks, a lot of people don't see this right away. I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second. When you log into the accelerator system, it's going to look very similar to the portal. So the main portal, when you log in, looks like this. And that's how you got here to this. Oops, I'm not sharing. Let's try again. Is that working now? All right. So it looks like this, where I got your Zoom link. Well, the accelerator page looks very similar, except when you log in, it's going to have 3 different buttons, etc. I just want to point out the bottom right, there's a little question mark. If you click on that, it opens up a bunch of training videos on how to use the software. So if you, as you're going through it, if you're stuck, you don't know how to enter properties, you don't know how to, search Zillow, all that different stuff. There's a few videos. They're not very long. Some are like 6 to 10 minutes. So they're not, this one's 4 minutes. So it's not very long at all, just to help guide you through what to do. Okay. So once you get to that homepage screen, Luis, this is what you'll see when you first get there. Cool. And that's probably for a whole bunch. This weekend, by the way, I don't know, we had a handful of people that I did a Silveris presentation for the Silveris group, and I'm just so amazed by the quality of people we have in the Silveris group that want to make change, that want to build businesses, and they're faith-based. The amount of people that want to make impact and change and help people is just through the roof. I can't believe it. So I'm so excited about that. We have some amazing things coming this year. So I've got one other update before we jump into some property reviews. This was really cool. We had been, we were kind of praying to God, and we answered some prayers to say, hey, how do we get our peer-to-peer delivery services out there faster now that we've officially got our first vehicles up running, our trailers. We did our first peer-to-peer delivery job this past weekend. So that was pretty cool. We helped somebody move some stuff to storage, but we want to grow at a massive level. And Rachel, who most of you guys we'll only meet at our big events. We built Mosaic together. Some of you will meet her if we work on properties together. You'll get to know her very well, but she's my partner in business and life. And we built a lot. Whenever we do big marketing things, that's where we get together and brainstorm. And boy, does she have an idea she came up with an idea to accelerate our growth in our peer-to-peer delivery. So we're going to be rolling that out and testing it here in Vegas. We're hopefully starting that this week. And it's actually part of the goal to grow. It's actually going to create the jobs for some of our residents. And we've got a few in the queue. And so we're going to be calling them this week and getting them on board to start implementing. She's very familiar with the OfferUp space because we've used it quite a bit for different things because we're money mindful. And here's the cool thing. We're actually going to be creating a Beyond Living OfferUp account, and we'll do other platforms too. But OfferUp tends to be is a very, very well, I like it more than Facebook Marketplace. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe because it's not tied to Facebook in any way, shape, or form. That's probably part of it. But I actually do think it's a great platform. But more solid than Craigslist and so forth, and a little bit more safe and secure. Although they all have risks, of course. But we're actually going to create a whole service around this. We're actually going to be reaching out to people because we actually did this. We used OfferUp when my mom was moving. We use OfferUp for lots of things, but in particular, my mom was moving out here to Vegas. And one of the things I told my mom is, don't bring all your stuff out here. I will, if I have to, I'll buy you new furniture. I don't want to pay money to move your stuff that has no real sentimental value across the country that just takes up space. And so it was so funny because she had this big giant entertainment cabinet thing. And we at one point, we put it up for a fee. Nobody wanted to buy it. Then we put it up for free. Nobody wanted to take it because they needed delivery. Then eventually we got someone who offered $100 to come pick it up for us, right? So we didn't do that. We ended up getting somebody who took it for free. But there's a big challenge when you get furniture and stuff. So what we're going to do, big items. So what we're going to start doing is reaching out to people on OfferUp, and we're going to be offering our peer-to-peer delivery service that they can add a delivery service for their items. That way they can have that and it's a free delivery with a donation to Beyond Living. So now you got all this stuff, and this stuff moves like crazy on Facebook. It's unbelievable. People sell grills, they sell tables and furniture sets and patios and dressers and beds and nightstands and bikes, and it's unbelievable, right? But then people don't have a way to get it, so we're going to start offering that. And then what we had already decided to do, and we're going to expand that now that we're going to have actual teams of people focused on OfferUp, finding items and tapping in to having them market our service. Like, we're helping them. They have a self-motivated interest. And then what we're also going to do is, a lot of people move, and when they get down to the end of the line, they don't even want money for it. They just want it gone, right? One of the things that we saw at Salvation Army when we toured their facility about a month or so ago, 2 months ago, it was awesome. They actually have a separate little area that they have their own eBay store. So they take some of the higher value merchandise and they eBay it, and that all goes into Salvation Army. So when we saw that, we're like, let's do the same thing for items that we get. So we're actually going to pick up a bunch of items, and then we're going to have, like, we have some folks that are in our Beyond Living that have skills of woodworking and everything else. They could be refurbishing furniture. We could be reselling it. We help them create their own business. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff over the next, I'll say it, 1 to 4 weeks that are going to roll out so we can amplify our ability to do multiple things. One, create jobs for our Beyond Living residents, create the peer-to-peer pickups, even have people be focused on reselling the items on OfferUp and eBay and other things, but OfferUp. And what that's going to allow us to do is, my goal is, I hope that we can, like, systematize this and optimize it over the next 4 weeks. And Rachel's actually going to work with the teams directly with the messaging and the marketing, and help train our initial Beyond Living residents that are going to get into this space. And when we perfect that, not even perfected, no, it will never be perfected. When we have that streamlined so that it's effective and efficient, we're going to be able to implement this. This is what I love in almost any market we want to go into with Beyond Living. Because every major market has OfferUp to a massive degree. Every market, like, it's just there, and people use it all the time. And so, so that's coming, guys. So as we think about how we're gonna grow faster and faster our ability to acquire more homes, and what this means for all you, you're like, Keith, what do I care about OfferUp? Well, maybe you don't care about OfferUp, but realize, was we're successful with this model, we create jobs for Beyond Living residents. As we create jobs for Beyond Living residents, we fill homes. As we fill homes, you guys have the ability to go out to investors and say, I've got 5 residents, qualified program participants that can go into your home, and we can instantly buy this house, renovate this house, partner on this house, and start filling your passive income. So Luis, this taps right into your goal. How do I add 2, 3, 4, 5, homes into my passive stream of cash flows? And so that's some of the things that are coming down the pipe. So that, along with our courses and portals, we're going to have a whole variety of things taking place. We also added, we're updating the site right now with junk removal, with actual built-in costs and fees for junk removal, because that's another thing that every major market has a need for, whether it be with contractors or just everyday people, or you're moving and you got to get this stuff out of there. People spend money to pick up this junk. I don't know if Amelia's on. I was going to tell Amelia, they're going to love this, because they're going to be able to plug the junk removal right into their site as well, because they've got the box trucks. So as we have large orders of junk removal, we're actually going to build, we're going to build a series of different, call them mini warehouses. By that, I mean storage sheds that we can actually pick up junk, or not even junk, other people's goods that they don't want anymore. And then we can offer up them, and we can basically, we're going to put them into these different storage sheds. So they're centralized around the Vegas Valley, so that our distance from home to home is very short. And then we could come through with our box trucks, pick up all the junk and take it and dump it, because there's economies of scale in that. You guys don't know. I mean, you drop stuff off at the dump yard, they charge $50 per ton. That's 2,000 pounds, right? With a minimum of $50. So, Luis, if I come by and pick up one dresser from you, right? I mean, that's not 2,000 pounds. So, but I still got to pay $50. But if I could pick up 10 dressers, 20 dressers, now all of a sudden I take them all at one time, I get that economies of scale. Right. So this is all about creating efficient models and effective models so that we can provide more. And I thought this is pretty cool. I haven't finished all the analysis, but this weekend I was running analysis on some of the competition in junk removal. And here's what they're not doing. They don't offer economies of scale for multiple items. Here's what I mean by that. If you gave me 10 dressers, Louise, guess what? I don't need to charge you $50 each dresser. I could start doing a discount, right? Because at the end of the day, I start getting that economies from one person. And so a lot of these companies are charging a boatload, and they're looking for high margins. And we need to make money to keep the trucks going and keep the things and add more vehicles. But the whole goal of this is to create jobs. So for me, it's about volume. For me, it's about the Walmart game. We're going to be probably the lowest priced junk removal company in town, because I don't care. Because on volume, we actually become more efficient. If I can make 20 stops on think about the garbage trucks, right? They're efficient because they stop at every house along the way, right? Imagine if they only picked up one on the block, right? How inefficient that would be. So the more that you could create that, become that go-to, the better off we're going to be able to create some amazing scale. So, and I share this with you guys. Obviously, I'm not trying to put this too far out there on our pricing strategies at the moment. The competition is going to pick up on what we're doing. They're going to realize, oh my gosh, these guys are doing multi-unit, multi-item discounts. Heck yeah, we are. Because everyone's going to want to go to us. And when the local animal shelter says, hey, if you got junk removal, go to my site, you can save yourself a bunch of money. On average, the average junk removal person saves 20%, and 70% of that profits go to nonprofit charities or give back. They're going to go there to place their junk removal. They're going to go to their church. They're going to go to their, the Cancer Society, the Red Cross, and they're going to go to those sites to do their peer-to-peer delivery and junk removal, and we're going to end up taking over. So I never thought that my goal in life would be to take over junk removal and peer-to-peer delivery, but now it has a bigger mission. My goal is to do that because the amount of jobs and the amount of people that we're going to be able to help is going to be so amazing. So that's what's to come, guys. I just thought I'd share with you a little bit of what the weekend was, on top of speaking for Silveris and spending some great time there and working with some of our Beyond Living residents and some of our home services things. I had them actually working on some plumbing work and things like that. So there's lots of needs. But anyway, yeah.
People who are spending money in this space because they're connected to our 501c3, can they receive receipts that are now tax deductible?
Michael, yes. In fact, we're already ordering. The goal today is to order little receipts. If you've ever gone to Goodwill and you drop stuff off, they write up a little receipt for you. We're getting donation receipts with our Beyond Living logo on it. So absolutely. In fact, here's what's going to happen. On OfferUp, you could get free delivery with a donation to Beyond Living. With a $40 donation, we'll deliver your product. So when we actually deliver that dresser that you bought from Sam Silver over to your house, because it didn't fit in your Tesla, you had no way you were putting that on the roof of your car. When we go drop that off to your house, you're going to get a receipt. Thanks for donating to Beyond Living. So yes, absolutely, Michael. Thanks for reminding me, because that's another piece that's going to be a unique selling proposition that my competition can't compete with. I don't need to make all the profits. We're trying to run this lean and mean. And by the way, do you know where some of our storage facilities are actually going to be? In the garages of the homes that we actually acquire. Because I'm not even going to have to pay for all the storage facilities. I'm only getting storage facilities till I have a house in that geographic area. So like right now in the center of Vegas, right in the center, we've got a Beyond Living home. And that Beyond Living home will be perfect. It's only a 1-car, but think about 1-car garage. Think about what that costs you in a storage, right? We've got another Beyond Living home in North Las Vegas that's going to be turned on. That's a 2-car garage. Think about how much furniture we could put in there. We could have our own restoration work happening for these beds and dressers and so forth. Then go resell them, and then go resell them with a delivery fee. Right? Now we actually made money we'll pick up at estate sales. And then we're also going to donate to Salvation Army. So things like clothes and stuff like that, we'll just take over to Donation Army because they go sell that in their thrift store. And that's how they keep their people going through their programs going. So you see how this is an all-encompassing, this is not a siloed nonprofit It's actually meant to say, how do we work together as a big community? And it takes some effort to get that going, but this is it. This is what we do. We spend so much time thinking and praying for guidance and ideas, but I'm thinking so we could come up with ways to do it even better. Innovation. When you figure out the innovation, we're going to nail this down, and that's going to allow us, like I said, in any market to just start dominating. And I'm so excited by that. So for me, you could tell I just started my coffee. I've only had 2 sips so far, 3 sips. So this is just me fired up from where the Lord has taken us and what we have coming in store for us ahead. So anyway, that was kind of my biggest update, and then we'll jump into actually a property review. But that was an update I wanted everyone to be aware of, that a lot of you guys are in this and fired up about what we're doing at Beyond Living. So I want to keep you abreast that we are moving at rapid speeds here with these models, and so that we can take them out to other areas. So
yeah, there's no reason, when you think about it, Keith, I'm glad you mentioned the garage situation, because man, in my short-term rentals, I'm sure in yours as well, there's absolutely no reason to have a garage. People can park the driveway. So even, yes, Beyond Living houses with a garage, that's a storage unit, but all the short-term rental that we run, which is very definitively a for-profit enterprise, but why can't we donate our garage to our nonprofit arm, get a receipt for it? Like, I mean, and then everybody's happy. It's like, if we're not turning it into something else, it should be a storage, because no one uses it anyway.
I love actually, we were planning to use them, but I love your idea of donating it, actually. Even better than that, because we could either pay for it and rent it as extra income, or we could donate, get it as a tax write-off and a deduction, which is awesome too. And you're absolutely right. It's so funny. Tony knows this. We've got this property in Addison, Illinois, that has a detached garage, and nobody has ever used it, not once. We finally had one person who asked about the garage because he's got this truck. So we said, yeah, sure, we told him where the remote was. His truck wouldn't fit in there anyway. So the one person that actually wanted to use the garage couldn't fit his truck in there anyway. So we've got 3 properties in Illinois right now that have detached garages, which is even better than attached. It's detached garages that this stuff could be stored in and so forth. So you're absolutely right, Michael. Like, even in our short-term rentals, it creates a way for those properties to be making a difference. And add that up, because here's what we realized. The more little centralized places we could have for these garages for drop-off, it makes our delivery more efficient. It's just like Amazon. Think about, they have those major hubs and the distribution hubs. Then they get little Amazon Flex cars, little small cars that cover small routes. Same thing. If I could pick something up from Sam's house, and I only got to drive 1 mile around the corner to one of our properties to put his dresser in the garage for now, and then I could go pick up another one, I can make my vehicles more efficient on a regular basis. And then I can get the big box truck, or whatever size truck, the big truck, to come in and pick up all the merchandise that needs to go somewhere else. And that's, by the way, that model, is not unique to us. When my mom actually had her pod, so I got her to use the U-Haul. What do they call those? They're pods, but they call them what's the U-Haul pod?
U-Haul box.
U-Box, I think. U-Box, right? Yeah, U-Box. What they did is they actually have someone or U-Box, and they deliver it. In this case, they delivered it to Hampshire, Illinois, which is not near Hoffman Estates. But they deliver it there, and then they bring in all the pods from the local area to Hampshire, and then they have a truck that then drives it from Illinois out to Vegas. And I'm guessing they probably made some stops along the way, right? So they begin to centralize with bigger trucks and use smaller distribution points to bring to bigger. It's all about logistics, right? So anyway, we're just going to do this smarter, and think about that advantage, to Michael, to your point. As we do that, these big companies can't compete, because we have like little niches of warehouses for free that we get to use to make our economics more efficient. Like, it's just going to be unbelievable. So I actually was thinking about it, with my own properties. I hadn't thought about it even beyond that, into what we could do. The more and more properties we picked up on short-term rental, how much storage we could actually potentially have. And, we've already got the technology. We'll have everything coded. This is at that location, blah, blah, blah. And people can order it, pick it up. I mean, man, this is going to be amazing. It really is. I mean, there's work to do. Yeah, Luis.
Do
Well,
you
I'm gonna,
use the furniture that you're collecting as far as the staging or for the short-term Airbnbs? Would you do that as well?
Well, I have a little bit of hesitation myself on using kind of used furniture for those, because as Michael was saying earlier, it's all about the photos, the good qualities, etc. It's not that it can't work. They definitely could work for beyond living homes for sure. There's
Yeah.
another piece. Like
That's exactly what I was thinking.
No, that's what you were
beyond
saying.
living.
Yeah, for those, for short-term rental, my belief is it's worth the investment to have good quality. Not that we'll never get good quality in there, but a lot of times, you guys know, what people are giving away for free is not something you'd put in a good short-term rental, high-end short-term rental. It's been scuffed and scratched and
Right.
beat up.
I mean, definitely weed out the good ones. So if there
That's
is an
right.
inventory list in each garage, then you'll know. Somebody
Yep.
can actually go through and go, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Oh, that looks
That's
good.
exactly
Take it
right.
out.
And
Yeah.
we'll have a massive ecosystem. We'll have more choice to pick from. I mean, because we'll have the goal is to dominate in that space. And as we do that, we become the primary junk removal. And guys, just wait till you see 1-800-GOT-JUNK try to sue me with a cease and desist because I'm doing something unfair. I mean, that's okay. I'm not. I said the other day, when I've disrupted and get sued like that, it means I've done my job, right? I've created that disruption. And I won last time, and we'll win again. We're making sure we're doing everything by the book, right? We're just doing it different, the ways people didn't think of.
Uber was the most hated company in several generations, certainly by the taxi commissions everywhere. And they were banned at airports. They were banned. And finally they said, all right, we'll pull out of Austin, Texas, right before South by Southwest, the biggest event of the year. And because they were getting such pushback from the local governments. And so all of the citizens, once they realized they couldn't get anywhere, almost lynched the local government, said, this is crazy. This is a service we want. Why are you doing it? It's anti-trade, it's anti-competition. And so that was a landmark ruling that was then used in precedent. And you'll notice that now you go into even formerly the largest taxi company stronghold in the world, where you're sitting, Keith, which is Las Vegas. And now, not only is Uber welcome, and there's a whole section dedicated in the airport to just Uber and Lyft and ride sharing apps, right? But Uber. So I think the same thing is happening now with. And Louise, I know you're new, so we refer to here at NextGen and everywhere else. We refer to places where people come to stay as short-term rentals, not Airbnbs, because Airbnb is only one travel agency we use out of, like, there's 58. So we try not to give them any more airplay than needed. And in fact, the keynote speaker Bryant, who's on the line here, the keynote speaker in Europe last year, when we went to the Vacation Rental World Summit, he actually said, if any of you choose to advertise your property on that San Francisco company that shall remain nameless, he said, here's what you need. He would not even use the words Airbnb, because they've somehow become like Coke and Kleenex, like they're a verb. And so I don't fault you at all for using it. I'm just saying, when you hear me use short-term rental and not, someone the other day asked me if I wanted to buy an Airbnb. And I was like, really? I was like, and what are you charging? I was like, you're charging $3,500 for a company that went public and is worth several $1 billion? Sold. Because I was like, no, you're buying into this little house that we run Airbnb in it. I said, that's entirely different than buying an Airbnb. You can't buy it. There's only one Airbnb and it's not for sale. So,
yeah.
But unless you want to buy stock. But I say that, but then Keith, I want to plant this seed in your head, and it's good for everybody else on the call too, because it's brilliant. All of us could use it on a small scale or a macro scale. I took sailing lessons when I was in San Francisco. And the Afterguard Sailing Academy definitely had a for-profit arm, but they had a non-profit where their mission was education, and they brought youth and people who couldn't afford it. They taught them how to sail. Well, this very, very, very rich benefactor decided to donate to their nonprofit a $28 million sailboat. It was stunning, brand spanking new. And we're like, what's that all about? Well, that's what gave me the idea, because now what he did is he's like, I'll donate this to you. You take care of it, run your nonprofit on it. but I'd like to be able to use it whenever I want. And they were like, sold. They just got a multi-million-dollar racing yacht, and we'd go out on it on Thursdays. It was singles night for sailing. And what did he get? He got the complete write-off. He gets to use the boat whenever he wants. He doesn't have to clean it, maintain it, pay for the slip fees. He doesn't pay for anything, and he got a complete write-off. So I just did the same thing, slightly different, with my airplane out in San Francisco. It needed about $75,000 worth of work. It needed a new engine. It needed some upgrades, and I didn't want to spend that. So I sold it to the flight school for $1. The flight school, the buddy who runs the flight school, I went to flight school with a million years ago. We're both getting pretty old. He bought it for $1. I get to use the airplane for 200 hours a year anytime I want, and he put in all of the maintenance. He's got himself an airplane that's really awesome, and he got it at a stupid discount. He still had to put the $70,000 into it, but you get the idea. And now I've got an airplane that I don't pay the rental for the parking spot. I didn't have to pay for all the upgrades, and I get to use it complimentary. I just put gas in it.
Right, so fuel. That's it, right? Just fuel.
Yeah. So now I think about Beyond Living. What if we convince somebody to donate a house?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a major event, but if they're investors anyway, we started this conversation talking about Joe Solano. I was like, what if he donates that house, and now he gets to use it anytime he wants? He lives in New Orleans. What if he came and said, I want to use it, and he doesn't even want to use it that often? But we run a short-term rental business in it. We put Beyond Living in it, whatever. But he donates it to the nonprofit, and he gets a complete write-off on the house. We could still find a way to have him receiving profits on the management. But if the house, we rent from the nonprofit. So I think there's lots of ways to, as we grow, and I will recommend Sherry Watson, who's the founder of, the Power of Grant Money. And she talks about, nonprofits making money. She said, you should call it not a 501c3 corporation. It's a 501 See Me Make Money corporation. And she's a brilliant woman. I always love listening to her. And she's got she'll tell you, she's got some brain damage. She rode one of her kids' ATVs off a jump and landed on her head and was in a coma for several months, if not a year. And she's worked her way back. But boy, I can't even imagine how brilliant she'd be if she had all of her brain, because she's apparently only working on half of it. So anyway, but I'm good friends with her and her husband and her son. And so anyway, I love the idea that we can do a lot of good, make people a lot of money in the process. And I'm just as excited today than I was, when I first said I'd join your team. So this is really awesome.
I love it, Michael. And actually, your comment was really spawned something different too, because we do that with short-term rentals, that owners can use the property. I think Beyond Living might be a little bit harder because we have people living in there, unless we had an extra room that we made available, but could be helpful for certain people. But where there also could be value is donate their car to use whenever they need. Because as we think about these pickups, these short-term pickups, and these peer-to-peer, we're towing these trailers. If we had vehicles, that's going to be one of our biggest asset expenses right now, is acquiring vehicles. Now, the donating real estate is, Cammie, that's her whole space. Cammie Baker is, that's all she does is travel around and teach people how to donate real estate. So there is a huge opportunity for that. In fact, John Bon Jovi bought a house for Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. So did Jewel, right? So you do have people with wealth that'll buy or donate homes just to make impact. So there's a whole space in that. But I also think there's a big space in the vehicle side. People have extra vehicles. They could donate it to us. And heck, they could even use it if they want. A lot of people don't need to maybe use a vehicle, but we're using Turo because I want to have extra vehicles. And I could Turo them until we need them, because you might get an influx of demand for pickups in a given day, right? And it's like, okay, we need more vehicles because we got a bunch of people that need some stuff moved. So having flexibility with a fleet of vehicles that we don't have to go out and buy, or either that or pay for themselves, there's a lot there. So I love where you're going with that. And I did want to circle back. Bryant, I saw your comment. Yes, same thing. In my short-term rentals, my tenants or my guests use the garage. They use the garage in almost all my short-term rentals. It's the detached garages that nobody ever uses, at least in the ones I have. No one's even asked, and we never even offered, except, like I said, this one first time ever on this one property. So detached garages, I think, are a huge opportunity. And believe it or not, my detached garages are all in Chicago where there's massive snow. If they're detached, you're going in out in the snow any way you look at it. Like it's, either way, you're going to have to freeze your butt off. Granted, a detached garage will keep your car from having to be brushed off. But again, through 2 winters so far of doing those particular properties in Chicago with snow, no one's even asked, hey, there's a garage back there. Is there any way I could park my car in there? I mean, they haven't ever even inquired. So it's just assumed, I guess, if it's not attached, nobody expects to use it. So, Michael, you're spot on. Those are great.
Even when I don't make them available if I'm going to use them. And had maybe one inquiry saying, oh, like it's just blocked off. It's like, is the garage available? It's like, no, it's a storage unit for the owner. And it's like, okay. And that was it. I think I had one inquiry in 3 years. But, and as long as you don't advertise it that it has a garage, if you say it has a garage and then they expect to use it, but you say, hey, parking's available, outdoor parking in the driveway is available.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
And they show up where they park, and then the attached ones, we just don't have any access. It's, it's key. It's punch code access. So they go in the front door and the garage is never used. And we send a message. If we're going to access it while they're there, we send them messages saying, hey, someone's going to come over and access the garage.
Yeah.
And we don't. So
yeah, that's it's funny. What really led us to start using those, to be honest with you, is one of our ones, and our property at Front Street, that's actually filled with all the original construction debris in there. And then Rachel and I were sitting here going, why are we have a separate storage shed for a bunch of stuff sitting out there that we're paying on. I'm like, why are we paying for that storage shed when we could just eliminate all the construction stuff and then use that as storage? Because no one's using it either way. So we started getting a little bit smarter in general, just for our own stuff. We've got some furniture, a whole bunch of furniture sitting in a regular storage shed, which is, again, we're paying, I don't know, $110, $20 a month on. It's like, well, that's silly. I can be putting it in there. So anyway, good stuff. Hey, I want to, real quick, Doug, I pulled up your property and it shows up as I think a vacant lot. Is that right? Oh, no. I'm sorry. Never mind. It says it's 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's only a picture of the lot. That's what it is.
What are you pulling it up on?
I'm pulling it up on Zillow at first. Should I go somewhere else?
Yeah, I think as I was going through it, I did send you over to your email. I ran some comps on it so you get like 6 comps in your email box. There's one good one in there. It's under contract. That it's a good comp on this property. Look like.
I found it. I got it.
Yeah. So the guy didn't get back to me with what he thinks the ARV is. The only thing that I know about the property, it's been vacant for about a year. I did pull up the property taxes on it, and so they are seniors that are moving. They've been moving up to Wisconsin for like the last year. And so just their kids have been, number 5 there looks like the best comp. Just 3-bedroom, 2 baths. Ours is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's 2,400 square feet.
Oh, Zillow says it's 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square feet.
Oh, no, your Zillow's right. It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
So it's probably, so it could be somewhere between, it could be even over this 435 number.
Yeah. Yes. That's going to be my guess. It's going to be, the next one is a lot bigger. There's a lot.
4,000 square feet. It's probably even a newer construction, possibly, huh?
Most likely. So I pulled it up in here's what you remember about Medina. This property is right next to the golf course. It's literally right next to the golf course, the Medina Country Club. So that's where they've had U.S. Opens there, and over the years and things like that. So everything, when I pulled it up in RPR and doing a neighborhood, just the houses in the neighborhood, on the low, everything is north. Pretty much almost everything is north of 400,000, and 500,000, 600,000. Obviously, compared to with the how much square feet are in there. So the only big thing I don't know is how much work it needs to be done to it. The people it's been vacant for a year. Kids are watching it and they just maintaining it. They pretty much moved everything out in the last year, and they're looking to get about $300,000 for it out of it, which leads me to believe that it looks like they may be the original owners. Because I can't find anything that this property has ever had a mortgage on it, or the mortgage paid off. Like I can't even get it to come up on Remind, but RPR couldn't find anything, any mortgages or anything like that on it. RPR had trouble finding it. I don't think RPR likes directional streets. Like 22 West 080 on there. It doesn't do well with that, and I tried different combinations.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the quick observation on it.
So
and the person that brought it to me is Andy, and he's the one that sent you also the quote for Bonnie.
Gotcha. So my question, Doug, why doesn't Andy just buy it himself, or is he just wanting us because of the capital, or what's his story?
Yeah, he wants to tire kick us. I was talking to him because I was doing the draw inspections on one of his investment properties, and so we just got to talking, and his original one in Itasca that I was going to bring that went under contract this weekend. He said if you weren't interested in looking at it, he said he would just bring it to his hard money guy, and then just he was going to buy it himself.
Gotcha.
And go that route. So, but he's just looking to see what we're all about. See if
Awesome. So let me share with the group. I've got a couple calls that I've got to jump onto, but what I want everyone to see in this is we do look at fix and flips as well, as you can tell. And we really prefer what's called the Flip Our House model. If you haven't seen the Flip Our House model, it's inside the Secrets course. You guys can watch it inside there. It's how we get renovators to pay us to flip our house. We don't always do it that way, but that's the preferred model. In fact, I keep telling myself I'm never going to do it the old way again, but sometimes there's the right deals out there and whatever might be. But the reason of doing these is if there's got to be enough equity in it, though. There's got to be enough cushion in these properties, or it's not worth doing, because there's so much risk in the fix and flip space. So many things can go wrong. We've done this long enough. We've been in this in real estate over 20 years to know that you just got to be aware. You got to be careful, and things don't always go the way you want. And you're going to have some winners. You're going to have some losers out of the group, but hopefully you leave enough room to leave lots of winners, right? That's the hope. So with the Flip Our House model, it's very, very hard to lose money on it because you protected yourself, but you've got to find the right people that can, commit to a Flip Our House model. So not everybody wants to do that and take on the things. And so you got to evaluate very carefully. So I'm not going to go too much more into it here for this call, but we can obviously circle back on another call on what's all in the fix and flip. But sometimes we'll flip properties or renovate them to turn them into beyond living homes. Right? That's the whole thing too. Like if you can get a property with 60, 70,000 under equity after you're done renovating, you renovate it, you refinance it, and you hold it and you go, right? And Doug, I know you're selling that property down there in Joliet, and it's so interesting because we're partnering now with the Table Joliet, which is a church in Joliet that's going to start marketing for Beyond Living, and we're gonna throw people up into Aurora, that Superior property, which is fine. We've got a Beyond Living home, but again, that could be another example, but you have to refinance, get out of those loans. But that's just an example where Doug found a property and it did go over budget. So maybe there's not as much equity as you originally would want when you're done to hold it, make it worthwhile, but you never know. And so our goal is, this is why I go back to how I opened the call. If we get those systems of creating jobs and creating the ecosystem running, then Doug, you would have a ton of options. You're like, oh yeah, I could sell it. I could put, 5 Beyond Living residents in here, like whatever. And you could have more options as an investor. So even for those of you that are buying your own properties and want to invest, what we're doing with Beyond Living is going to open up a whole new pathway for you for different things. So
yeah, we got a solid offer on it this weekend.
Oh,
too.
nice, Doug.
Yeah, it's well, it's a little bit on the low side, but I've already had this is the first for me. I actually had the guy's lender call me and tell me what good of a risk this guy is. That's gonna be put the offer in on there. So he was going like, "Oh, this guy is really." But it's a little bit on the low side. So I told him that it's really our first weekend of just showing it. I said I'm going to let it go for another weekend, and we'll see what we get out of there. Unless he comes up on his price a little bit, we'll try another weekend on it. But so it's so we'll see.
Cool. All right. I do have to run. I've got an appointment that I might be late for. I can't remember if it was 12 or 12:30, but thank you guys for hang on one second here. Thank you guys for jumping on this morning. We'll see you guys Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So block these on your calendar. For those that are new, I don't send out reminders for all the calls because look, I say in this business, you got to own your success. You got to be responsible. You got to know how to block your calendar. You got to know how to set aside your time. You know the times. They're on the portal. You get calendars, block your time. You shouldn't need an email to remind you of your appointments, right? So I'll send out emails if there's a change to an appointment or if there's something important that you guys need to know about launches or video replays but just assume on a regular basis, the calls are on and the replays will be in the replay section on the portal, usually within 24 hours. So I have an offshore team that does that. So while we're all sleeping, they're going through and loading things. So usually when we wake up in the morning, they're on there unless they got stuck on some other projects. But that's kind of what you guys can know for those of you that might be newer. Cool?
I have one very quick question.
Sure.
Do I get assigned to a certain person if I have several different projects that I want to talk to them about?
Not exactly. You can actually go into the portal and pick up and schedule time with any of the facilitators. So normally what will happen is depending on how you get into the system, you may have a team leader because you're part of their team. Because you came from Silveris, technically myself and I'm kind of your team leader, but I don't work on the first level calls. I have people that help. So that's why I've got a support team, but I will be involved. If any of you get near the finish line or close to a point where the deal looks like it's a good deal, I will be involved in your transactions. Okay. But I've got a good team that will like Michael and Doug have been working on this one in Fort Lauderdale. So same thing. So what happened is they get it. They've clarified this is a good deal. They've done some analysis and even the flip that Doug just showed you, right? And then I'll come in and jump in and help, and then we'll all get on a call and we'll work together. So at the end of the day, you and I, Luis, are still we're going to become partners in that LLC together. Okay. But so that we can best support you. I've got some folks that invested a pretty good amount, but they benefit too because I give them my part of the commission, the bulk of it. I say, look, if you guys want to learn how to facilitate deals and how to, I'll just hand you clients. Like I'll just hand you, Sam, Luis, all you guys, I'll hand you clients so that you can build your portfolio because, there's an abundance out there, right? There's an abundance. So, and some of you down the road may decide you want to do that too because you could build your portfolio faster, right? Yeah. You just have people fill in your calendar on calls with sellers all day long. Like that's a great place to be. So anyway. Okay. Cool.
All right, I'll let you go. I know you're busy. Sorry.
No worries. Thanks so much, guys. If you have questions, if you get stuck on anything and you're newer, please reach out to support@nextgenrei.net. All the welcome emails, when you see Keith Eichley -nextgenrei.net, that actually goes back to the support team. And that's the best place to go to first because they can respond much faster than I. So, cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Recording stopped.